morning.
I'm Rhonda Pringle, Market President and Publisher for the Baltimore Business Journal, for people who may be watching and do not know this. And I'm so excited to have a few minutes with Alex Smith, CEO of Atlas Restaurant Group. I feel like you've been in the news a lot lately because you got a lot going on.
We do. We're working hard.
And one of the big projects you have going on is a new restaurant opening very soon, in about 3 days?
Monday, yeah.
Yes.
Monarch.
What is it like opening a restaurant in the middle of a pandemic?
It's a good question. So it's, it's obviously very difficult. And, we started on this project last November, and the restaurant was really completed and ready to go in May. And so what we did as a team is we met once a month and said, hey, how do the numbers look? And that led us almost to November, right? So we really have been sitting on that place for 6 months. I'll tell you this: we hired 50 new people in the last 2 weeks, and gave 50 badly needed jobs to the community. So it's great to see people at work working, like a sense of normalcy, right? And we're doing the training and everything else. So from that aspect, it's really positive. Obviously, we're opening up with everything spaced out and the 6-foot rule and so on and so forth. So I'm not sure that it's going to be super profitable for the first 6 months, but we figured it was, with the governor going to 75%, it was the right time to get things up and moving.
So speaking of timing, you've always been a Baltimore staple. That's what we know you from. And so to hear about your expansion plans is pretty exciting, especially looking at DC next year. So when I think of timing, my question to you is, why now?
Yeah.
Because all that's going on. And then what other plans do you have? Do you have plans outside of DC?
Sure. So, DC, we're 60 days from opening in DC. We're not going to open in 60 days, but the project is, 60 days from being completed when we say go. And we have a great partner in that project, Norman Jamal from Douglas Development. So what we're doing is waiting for DC to come back. And we'll probably be open in DC the spring of this year, I would say. Cross Street Market, it's one of those things also, DC and Cross Street Market, Watershed and Atlas Fish Market. These are projects that were committed to, a year before COVID. So it's what we're thinking as a company is how do we follow through on the projects that we've committed to and make sure that we do them to the best of our ability. And our goal is to have everything open that we committed to prior to the pandemic. It may have taken a little 6 months to a year on some, but we want to make sure we follow through on what we said we were going to do.
So prior to the pandemic, one of the things we celebrated with your organization last week was being one of the fastest growing companies in Greater Baltimore. You've been on that list pretty consistently the last few years, and then the pandemic hit.
Yeah,
Tell me
I know.
more about what you see for yourself in terms of bouncing back and the restaurant industry in general as we go into next year.
Sure. I think that we're really fortunate. Houston and Texas or Florida, so Texas and Florida, I should say, our markets there. We're doing 100% of prior year sales right now. In Baltimore, the last few months, we're doing about 75% of prior year sales. So I feel like we're bouncing back nicely. I think that we'll have pretty strong growth in 2021. Hopefully there's a vaccine on the way, but I think it'll be a good 2021 for us. Obviously, we'll probably take a 20% rev hit overall, 25% rev hit for the year, company wide, I would say in 2020. But in 2021, I think we're going to bounce back. I feel that our restaurant group has always been based on local clientele. It's the locals that keep us in business. It's the locals we have the relationships with. It's the locals that have continued to support us throughout this pandemic. And I'm thankful for them, and I'm thankful for the Baltimore community for still supporting us as strongly as they have through a pandemic. I really feel for any of the restaurants that are around the convention and hotel traffic. There are a lot of restaurants in Baltimore in particular that they get their revenue from the hotel and convention business traffic. I think it's going to be another year before that comes back. So if you're out there and you got a restaurant in the CBD and you're by the convention center and that's your bread and butter, just hold on tight. It will come back, but it's going to be a little bit longer.
So you just talked about how difficult this has been for the industry overall and certainly employees. How are you supporting your employees right now and then in general the community?
Yeah. So we brought all of our employees that were any employee that was furloughed. We brought them back immediately when we took the PPP loans. So we offered everybody their jobs back. Some took their jobs, some didn't. Some had moved on to do other things because we were, a 60-day, we had a furlough going on. But we brought everybody back, and now we've actually hired and added to our employee base with the opening of the Izumi Teppanyaki room, the acquisition of Admiral's Cup, opening of Monarch, and then soon to be Cross Street. We will be over 1,000 employees just in Baltimore by March of next year, and we'll have another 250 between Florida and Texas. So we're still growing our employee base. Second part of your question was what again? I'm sorry.
How are you
What are we doing
supporting
in the
the
community?
community?
Yeah, so we're doing a ton in the community. Yeah, we've really activated Atlas in the community. We're doing everything from citywide cleanups to grocery giveaways to cooking at St. Vincent's and the homeless shelters. We're activated in the community on a weekly basis, going out and doing charitable work. We're planning on giving a couple thousand turkeys away down in Fells Point for Thanksgiving to the community, and we're just continuing to strengthen our ties to the community.
Did you find that you have learned some positive things through this pandemic, either about the way that you work with your employees or the way that you approach opening restaurants?
Yeah, I think that, look, it's a balance, right? We want the employees to come to work and feel safe. We want the customers to come in and feel safe. Um, and it's a balance. I mean, we want everybody to be safe, but also to enjoy, eating in our places and feeling comfortable. So that's it's a delicate balance, especially with the pandemic. As far as social injustice, we feel like we've also done a lot. We just sponsored diversity, equity, inclusivity training with Visit Baltimore for all the top 100 hospitality units in the city. So we've definitely been engaged with that and been a part of that movement as well, as you've seen things materialize over the summer. So it's been an interesting year between COVID and social injustice and kind of the movement of our company and where we're headed. Um, it's certainly been a productive 2020.
Well, I don't think anybody can argue, Alex, that you have been probably the biggest advocate of the Baltimore restaurant scene that we have. Share with me why you're so passionate about it, and then why is it important to Baltimore? Because people will say Baltimore has a lot of issues. Why is the restaurant scene so important?
So first off, I mean, the restaurant scene to me is so important because first off, we're providing jobs for the community. We're giving people an opportunity to get real jobs. I mean, our servers do very well. Our cooks and our line cooks and our sous chefs and our managers. I mean, these are high paying jobs. And I think that what we need in Baltimore is more hospitality driven jobs for people to know that this is a career. This isn't like a fly by night thing where you stay for a little bit. We are really providing careers. But I'm so proud about of our team is that when you come to Baltimore and you experience our restaurants, they're not only unique to Baltimore, they're unique to the country. And I want people to leave Baltimore, whether they go back to the county or they go to another city and say, man, I had this experience at this place in Baltimore. It was so cool. I had this dining experience. I tried this, they tried their cocktail and wine program. So I think that what we're doing is we're providing a positive light on the city where people can have a positive experience about our city. And then that positive experience, just spreads, right? And so, with also providing opportunities and careers in the community for hospitality. So it's a two-edged sword.
So if you had to sort of paint what you want the vision of the Baltimore scene to be like maybe 5 years from now, what you want people to say about Baltimore, what would that be?
Yes, so I want Baltimore to be a culinary destination, and I think what we need to do is continue to bring up and coming chefs from the community, help people, the community and the state and other people need to help people get their own small shops started, because I really do feel like Baltimore could be a burgeoning foodie city. And we can be part of that, obviously, but I think that we have a lot of up and coming great chefs that will have small places here or there around the city. And I want it to be a destination when it comes to food and wine and just the culinary scene in general.
Well, your restaurant is certainly helping us do that. And I wish you very good luck with Monarch. I can't wait to see what
Yeah,
happens.
you gotta
It's
come see me. When
great.
you let me know when you want to come by and check it out.
Well, thank you very much for your time, Alex.
Hey, thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.